Hello, hello, goddesses, whoever is there, whoever will join me live or watch this video in recording. My name is Milan Levis. I am a host in this group and a wealth architect for powerful women like yourself. And today I want to continue a conversation about the importance of having positive cash flow. What is cash flow to begin with? What is the significance of having positive cash flow? What is bad debt and good debt? And what are the causes of bad debt? And how you can change your financial destiny? What steps you have to take, or can take rather, to change it. So I just want to tell you that I'm very excited that I have this opportunity to share this information with you, because it's very important. And I hope and pray that the internet connection would be good enough so I would be able to go all the way through the points that I want to share with you today. So I have some notes, so I will not deviate too much, because I get excited and I deviate from the agenda that I want to share. So let's begin. I told you yesterday in my video that positive cash flow is essential for your financial wealth. What is cash flow? You have an income and you have expenses. Everybody does, right? So the difference between your gross income and your expenses is a cash flow. So if your income is larger than your expenses, you have a positive cash flow. That's what we're trying to create. If your income is not enough and your expenses exceed your income, then you will have a negative cash flow. It's that simple, right? So why negative cash flow is so bad for you? Hi, Janine, thank you for joining. Why negative cash flow is so bad for you? Because it's a source of stress and financial anxiety. It's the #1 source. And the good news is that it's in your control. It's 100% in your control. And that's why I want to tell you what you need to focus on and what you need to be aware of, so you will make sure that you always have a positive cash flow. So let me talk a little bit about the causes of negative cash flow. So like I said already, the formula is gross income equal, the cash flow equal gross income minus your expenses. So to adjust your cash flow, you either need to have larger income if you have a negative cash flow, or you have to decrease your expenses. It seems like really simple. So what is one of the main suspects that cause negative cash flow? Frankly, it's bad debt. Because some people have a very good income, and yet they have negative cash flow. I've met so many high-paying professionals who I would guess would not have a negative cash flow. And yes, that was the case, because they have a lot of bad debt. So let me give you examples of bad debt. High interest credit card balances. High interest credit card balances, because a lot of people use credit cards and they pay balances in full because it's convenient, but they're able to pay balances in full. When you carry over balance from month to month to month, it accumulates very high interest rate, because credit card companies are very profitable companies. I own their stocks, because they charge enormous interest rates. Sometimes it's 24, 29%, 28%, whatever. So it's very profitable for them and very devastating for people who carry over the balances on their credit cards. Another example of bad debt would be high interest car loans or high interest student loans. So the main point of bad debt is that you use it for something that doesn't appreciate over time. Like your car doesn't appreciate over time, right? That the value decreases. You know, once you already use the vacation that you paid by credit card, right, in installments, it's done, and it doesn't. You enjoyed it, but the value of this investment doesn't appreciate. Just a general idea. So I call it bad debt because what you use it for doesn't appreciate in value. On the other hand, what I call good debt or financial leverage, when you use financial leverage to pay for something that appreciates in value over time. For example, investing in real estate or investing in rental real estate, or investing in a stock market, assuming that you know what you're doing and you manage your risk. Investing in yourself, investing in your education, investing in your health is also appreciates in value over time. So this is a good, I call it good debt. So that's, I just described you the difference between good debt and bad debt and gave you an examples. Now, how do we create, and you know, I realize that many of you may know this, but yet, you know, understanding something intellectually is not enough, right? So we really need to feel this. So that will help us to have a deep emotional awareness of this to do the right thing. So how do we create negative cash flow? And I emphasize, we create negative cash flow. Let me give you examples. Renting an apartment or buying a house that costs more than 1/3 of your gross income, that would likely create a negative cash flow because it's more than you really need to pay for housing. And a lot of people who invested in real estate, you know, even in their homes, not only rental real estate, in the past, when banks were allowing to have mortgages when people really did not qualify, they experienced this in a very stressful way because eventually they were losing their investments, their properties, their homes. So another example would be leasing or buying a car using credit cards or high interest car loans. Again, this is an asset that doesn't appreciate in value, right? So, and sometimes this high interest loans accumulate, or some people I know, they use credit cards to buy, to get the leased car or to buy a car. So the interest is so high that they accumulate, and the ultimate amount that they pay for this is more than they can afford. Another example, going on vacations and paying the entire vacation on the credit card, which is okay, but not having enough money to pay this balance on the credit card in full. So instead, paying the balance in full, they have installments. And as I said, credit cards are smart, profitable companies. They charge you enormous interest, ridiculous interest, right? And yet, a lot of people do that. I know CPA educated women that, you know, professionally deal with money, and yet they go on vacation using credit cards and pay in installments and pay high interest. So another example would be buying clothes, designer clothes, or buying courses and programs that you don't use, that will not add to your ultimate value, right? Will not add to the net worth, your net worth over time. So that's just some of the examples how we create negative cash flow. Now, I think it's very important to be aware of why we do that. If we know better, right? Most of us know better. Why do we still do that? And I was one of these women. That's why I know this so well. So one of the reasons is that we feel unhappy. We feel unfulfilled. And as one of the outlets for our self-satisfaction, we use shopping therapy. When I was working on Wall Street and I didn't feel good, I was quite miserable inside, but on the surface I was like, the most successful, happy woman you could find. I was using shopping therapy every day during my lunch to numb myself. Okay, so I was one of these women who were looking for outlet to not face what I was feeling. Another example would be when we use money to fit in, to please someone. We want to give more than we can really afford at the moment, right? Sometimes, and not give to help someone, but give to fit in or to be accepted or to be liked or something like that. So that's another reason when we buy extravagant gifts to other people, or just give money knowing that we may probably not get back. So that's that creates a leak in your financial, in your personal finance. Another example would be lack of awareness, right? So lack of awareness about not spending more than you make. Some people don't really pay attention to this, right? They don't pay attention to what is coming in, to cash is coming in and cash is coming out. And the final very interesting point is keeping up with the Joneses. I can tell you that when I left my husband and I graduated from business school with a lot of loans, and I decided not to go back to do what I used to do. So I decided to change my professional focus and become financial venture capitalist. I didn't have background for this, and I had problem finding a job. So I was, at this time, I was renting very, very tiny, inexpensive apartment near New York City. And, I was starting my investment company. I was living like a student, okay? Very modest financial means, and was in a survival mode. And when I talked to one of my girlfriends, and I shared my challenges, and we were just talking, and she casually said, "You know what? At this age in your life," and I was in my mid-40s, at this age in your life, you should have a beautiful house with a swimming pool, luxurious car, etc., etc. She was making me feel like I have to keep up with what other women have at this age. And you know what? It was not easy for me to swallow my pride and control my ego, so I will not fall into this, because it's so many people that have enormous stress that is caused by spending so they can keep up with the neighbors, with the friends, with the relatives, because they constantly compare themselves and they feel that that's something that will show that they are successful on the surface. And again, I've met so many families like that. It's not funny. It's very, very quite common, especially in the United States. So I shared with you my story, and I would love you to maybe, if you want, share your story in the comments and how you got maybe into the spell of being in a negative cash flow, and maybe how you managed to get out of it. Now, if you experiencing negative cash flow right now in your life, there are 5 aspects that you need to be aware of so you could change it. Number 1 is you need to change your psychology. And I will talk a little bit more about this. Let me just list the steps and then I will get into the details. So number 1, you must change your psychology because you must change your pattern. You need to interrupt your pattern. Another thing is you need to have an action plan, how to get out of this, right? So it's not just, it will not disappear on its own. You need to have an action plan. Next step, you need to possibly upgrade your skills. You know, I don't know specifically what you do, but, you know, it could be maybe upgrading your selling skills or upgrading your computer skills, or anything like that. So just it's for you to look into this, what skills you may need to upgrade. The next aspect of changing your financial situation is possibly get support, because like let me share with you my example. When I was really in a very bad financially, emotionally, and health-wise situation, I felt numb. I felt that, you know, this is it for me. I'm a failure. I don't know how to change it. Nothing will change. I'm just a colossal waste of talent and possibilities. And I was lucky enough to meet a coach who showed me that there is a light on the other side of the tunnel, right? Who showed me that I have enormous possibilities and helped me and supported me during this time. And actually, that's how I decided to become a coach, because I know how powerful coaching is. And I always, since that time in my life, I always have a coach in my life. So that was the number 4 aspect, get support. And number 5, I think it's very important to have a conducive environment to achieve changes in your life that you want to have. Because if you hang out with people who see themselves as broke, if they feel that people who achieved financial independence or have are wealthy and successful, they feel jealousy, they feel negative energy toward these people. If you hang out with these people, you know what, you will pick up this energy yourself. So it's very important to choose the circle of people that you surround yourself with. One of the reasons I created this group is because I want you to be inspired by other people's successes. I want you to be able to ask for support. I want you to learn from others so you could grow and maybe update your skills, etc. So again, these are 5 aspects that you need to be aware of if you want to change your financial situation. If you want to change the financial leak, which is negative cash flow, it means that you have financial leak somewhere in your financial system. So let me briefly talk about aspect number one that I mentioned, change in psychology. So how do you change the pattern that you developed over a long time? Because these are the pattern, the spending patterns, the feeling that you're not worthy, etc. It's a pattern that shows in different areas in your life. So how do you change this? By becoming motivated, right? By using psychological leverage. I like what, I believe it was Tony Robbins who said that change is never a matter of abilities. Change is always a matter of motivation. So I want you to, if anything else that you need to remember from this video is that if you want to change something, you need to get motivated. And to become motivated is to feel that if you don't change, and I'm talking right now about your financial situation, if you don't change, you will experience immediate, unbearable consequences. And I can tell you that that's what my coach helped me realize, because like I said, I was numb, and he helped me to see and feel, not intellectually understand that I must change, but feel that if I don't change, I will experience enormous pain and really, really bad consequences. And one of the motivations for me was to make sure that my daughter, because sometimes we don't do things just for us. Sometimes we need someone else who we love dearly to do something for, will be willing to change for them. So for me, that was a very important aspect of being motivated. So what I also want to tell you, I shared with you why I believe in coaching. I shared with you how I experience negative cash flow, how I felt completely numb because I didn't believe that I can change anything, and how my coach helped me to see otherwise, how he helped me to change my perception of what is happening in my life, how once I changed my perception, my perspective of what is possible for me changed. At this time, and it wasn't a long time ago, I felt like, nothing will ever be good in my life. And look what happened within just a few years. So I want to tell you that I've been where you might be at the moment, and I would love to see if I could support you. If you want to simply learn from me, you can find my book on Amazon. It's called A Shift Toward Abundance, Secrets to Financial Freedom. If you want my help and support, if you want to have me in your corner, so to speak, I would love to get on a phone call with you and see if we're a good fit, because I like to work with powerful women who want to create impact in the world, who want to become financially powerful and make money work for them so they can have more freedom in their life to do what they really want to do, use their talents and their brilliance to change other people's lives. So that's what motivates me to be a coach. And if it's something that you would like to consider, let's see and let's talk. We may or may not be a good fit. And I also want to invite you to join me on my monthly Mindful Money calls, where you can ask me any questions about your current financial situations, and I would be happy to support you. And that's it for now. Until we meet again, much love and blessings. Bye-bye.